What is going on, guys? It is Bucky, and in this tutorial, your 10th iPhone development tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to make a slider. So, if you actually clicked on this tutorial thinking that it was a tutorial on how to make cheeseburger sliders, then, well, that's probably pretty embarrassing for you. So anyways, here's what it is. You go ahead, slide it, and it gets the value for you, and you maybe you can use it in this to say how much money do you want taken out. See, I have $100 in my bank account, and I want to take all that out. So all right, don't even listen to me. I'm just mumbling right now. So go ahead and quit that and open Xcode, and go ahead and open whatever your project name is. Mine is named bank account because it's my super secret bank account. And let's go ahead and jump right into the code. So let's think for a second. What exactly was the one thing that changed that we need to change with coding? Well, that label changed. We know we need an outlet for that, but what about the slider? Well, actually, in this case, we don't need an outlet for the slider. What we're going to do is just call an action on that, and it's going to change the label via an outlet. So let's go ahead and, like I said, we need UI label. Just go ahead and name it S label, and this will be your outlet. And of course we need a property for it, but we don't have to type all that. So go ahead and copy this and paste that shiz right there. And UI label, but instead of password, go ahead and put S label. So we went ahead and we created or started to create our outlet right here, but we need one more method, and that is IB action in, what can we name this? Sliding, I guess. Sliding looks pretty good. And ID sender. So sliding, make sure I spell everything wrong, and good to go. So go ahead and copy this and go ahead to your implementation file, and the first thing that we want to do is synthesize that S label. So synthesize S label, so it actually creates the getter and setter methods for us. And before I even build this method, let's just go right to the end and release it. Even though it built the methods for us, we still need to be responsible for releasing it. So make sure not to forget that. And finally, we can begin getting to the good stuff. So go ahead, paste your header. That's called sliding. And this is going to be your action whenever you slide that slider bar. This is the method that's going to be called anytime you slide it even a little bit. So what do we want to do first? Well, instead of using the word sender every time, let's go ahead and let's make this a little bit easier. UI slider, and go ahead and name it star S. So then instead of, well, let me go ahead and put UI slider asterisk sender. So now instead of having to write this every time, we can just use the S. Just makes our code a little bit easier. So what do we want to do now? Well, whenever we slide that thing, it's gonna have a value associated with it. So what we want to do is get that value and store it in a variable that's easy to work with. So let's go ahead, and it's going to be int, of course, because you saw 1 to 100. It didn't have any decimal points or anything. And just name yours value, because I mean it's pretty self-explanatory. And go ahead and cast it into an int if it isn't casted already. In that slider, the attribute to get the value is whatever your slider's name is, and the built-in default is value. And this is going to return the value, cast it as an integer, and store it in a nice little variable called value. That's a whole lot easier to work with, isn't it? So now, what do we want to do? Well, we want to start building that label pretty much. So what we need to do is format a string that we're going to print out to that label. So ns string, and just go ahead and name it new label because it isn't the old label. This is the new one we want to create. And go ahead and ns string, allocate some space for it. Remember, we're going to need to release this later. And init with format pretty much means what format do you want to use. Just go ahead and print out an integer. I mean, you don't need anything more complicated than that. And go ahead and we're going to pass it the value. So all this does is it creates a string. Either, and all the string is one number. Either 1 to 100, could be 40, could be 84, who knows. So after this, what we want to do is we have this new label, but the old label is still on the screen. We didn't change it yet. So go ahead and remember, in order to access that old label, it's S label, since it built that setter and getter methods for us automatically. And the property to change the text on a label is text. That's a built-in property. So now you're saying, all right, I want to access that label's text, but what exactly do I want to change it to? Well, just go ahead and change it to new label, just like that. So after that, I said that we need to release it. Remember, since we allocated it, anything you allocate, you need to release later on. So go ahead and new label release. So once you synthesized it, built your sliding method, and also released it at the end, you can go ahead up to build and build this and see if we have any errors. And it said succeeded. Impressive. So we are good to go. Jump in Interface Builder and start messing around there. But actually, I'm going to save that for the next tutorial because I think I might run out of time in this one. But let me just recap one last time what we did. We pretty much started. Ooh, a nice text message. Should I see what it says? Yeah, you guys don't mind. Dumb. What you up to? Really? Really dumb. I'm in the middle of a tutorial. Alright. Anyways, what we did is we built our label and we pretty much declared it as an outlet, and we also built the header to a method. And in here, what we did is we synthesized it, and that means automatically build setter and getter methods for us, so we can use this basically. And we didn't forget to release it at the end. Need to take care of your computer's memory. And the meat and bones to this tutorial, this sliding method. This is the method. Anytime you slide that slider, this is what's going to be called. First of all, we renamed that slider to S, so it's easier to work with. We got the value of it and stored it in a variable called value. Then we pretty much took that value and printed it out as a label, as a nice string. And then we took that new string and set it equal to the text on the label, so it actually showed up on our screen. And when we were done, we just released all our memory because we don't need it. We're not greedy. We're giving it back, to you guys, your computer. So yeah, if you want any of this source code, then click on the link below, and yeah, it'll be there for you guys. Trust me. And if you have any questions, you can ask me on my forum. So in the next tutorial, we're going to be putting all this together. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.